Oh man, what is going on in the world today? Wouldn't even know where to start. Feels like the walls are kind of closing in on our democratic world order sometimes. I wonder what things are going to look like in 10 years. Like in 10 years, are we going to move on beyond like election denialism and these hard right authoritarian politics? Or are we going to re-embrace free trade? Or what's it going to look like? You know, are we going to live in an age of more and more measles outbreaks, which is like terrifying in its own right? Purely because somebody on the internet told somebody that vaccines are going to cause autism. Doesn't feel like we're in good places anymore. Feels like, I don't know. Feels like the internet has kind of been a net negative in terms of our ability to critically decipher critical, true information about the world. It's fueled paranoia, it's fueled bigotry, yeah, et cetera, et cetera.
Hello.
Oh, hello, my friend. How are you? Oh
Doing good.
shit. Are we doing what?
Cams? Doing
I'm
cams?
not, but you're like way more. You're way better looking than I am. Um, but I can add the
I mean, I,
camera on OBS. I can work.
nah,
No,
fuck it.
you've decided
I
against
mean,
it.
if I mean, I don't. It depends on what you like, what the format is. I don't know what you're going for.
I mean, it's just if you look into my stream, it's just a brick wall with the Three Arrows logo and a thing that says "Conversation with Dario Rahim." There's not
Amazing.
anything special to the format. It's just let's talk about the world. I haven't talked to you in forever. I don't know, what
Yeah,
insights you have on politics these days. Be interesting to find out.
none at all.
None at all. You have no. That
None
doesn't
at
sound
all.
like you. You sound like I seem to remember you being an exceptionally opinionated person. What happened?
Um, I started doing other stuff, I guess.
So you're not even tuned in at all?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I am tuned in, but I don't know what kind of opinions I could have. I guess.
Damn,
Feel like
son.
isn't it,
Well, I
isn't it
mean,
just all shit right now?
it is kind of all shit right now. Which is why
Yeah.
like I'm trying to look for like the non-shit opinions that we could like talk about like why everything is shit, and hopefully like
Sure.
effectuate some sort of response to move past the shit. Um,
Sure. We can talk about that for sure.
well, it doesn't sound like you know much. Is my concern. Well, fuck, we can talk about video
Uh,
games and shit.
no, I don't know. I mean, depends. I mean, I didn't bring topics, right? But if you got stuff, I mean, I'm sure I listen to like podcasts and stuff sometimes.
Well, I guess I was just looking to have a chat about the declining state of liberalism throughout the world. You still, I don't remember
Oh,
where you live, but I seem to remember it being like fucking Netherlands or something like that, like somewhere over there. Um,
close enough.
Close enough. Yeah, and you guys kind of like have the same issue on that side of the pond as we do here, which is that the liberal order is in decline. People are hyper aggressive or toxic when it comes to issues of immigration. There's this overzealous right wing nationalism that's taken hold on governments. You've got, Viktor Orban, for example. You've got people cheerleading Vladimir Putin. Like it seems like the liberal order that it felt like a little bit more secure just a few years ago. It's in rapid decline now. But I guess if you really look at it, it's kind of a 20-year long project it's been in decline now. But
True.
yeah, why don't you tell me what insights you have on that?
Well, first off, are you? I guess we're live. What's
We
the stream
we are live. It's on my channel, my guy.
link?
Yeah.
Yes. Wait, what was your channel name? I swear I have you subbed.
Yeah, that's what you think. It's A27L.
Oh yeah, it's the yes, the cryptic one.
Yeah, well, LSP sounded stupid, so I came up with something better.
That's cool. No, I mean we do have. I mean for sure. So I guess right now I could say we do have sort of like immigration issues, but the issue is that we're trying to keep Americans from taking one of our islands. So yeah, I live in the great nation of Denmark. Right now, Americans are trying to take Greenland, and that's not cool. So that's sort of the big hot topic over here.
I'm guessing the
Yeah.
views of Americans over there in Denmark must have plummeted then in light of Trump.
I mean, I'm here to interrogate you and be like, what do you have to say for your defense?
What I voted against the guy. What do you want me to say? All I can do is vote. The guy's insane. It seems weird to me that it seems weird to me that we're at a place in this country where these are conversations that are being seriously entertained. It also seems weird to me that this is my problem with Denmark.
Oh,
And not,
okay.
and not just Denmark. It's not just Denmark. It's everybody. But can we just say who the bad guy is? Can we just say it's the Republican Party? Like, they don't want to wade into American politics. They want some sort of a proactive, beneficial relationship, but they never like name who the constant antagonist is that keeps messing up world affairs, and it's always the Republican Party. You know, like, let's name them. It's like, hey, these people are insane. These are who you guys keep electing, and they're threatening to take territory against the will of the people there. It's not okay.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like the, I guess the liberal world order, as you so eloquently put it, I feel like honestly it's pretty well and alive here in Denmark. Like I don't feel like it's that bad as it is many other places, and for better or worse, I feel like there's a lot of unity against sort of the Donald Trump of things right now in Denmark because of the whole Greenland thing. It's kind of funny actually. Like that was the thing that would unite the Danish left and right wing would be not liking Donald Trump.
Are politics
Yeah.
there like I don't know Denmark's politics, but are they like particularly polarized in the same way they are here in the States?
Nah, I wouldn't say so. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even claim to be an expert on Danish politics. Honestly, as I said, I've been kind of tuned out mostly, except like normie politics, right? I would say I'm pretty much on the normie politics kind of things right now. In at least the past year or 2 years. But I would say I don't feel like, I mean, it's not as divided as the US, but it's hard to compare to other countries because I know even less about like what politics is like in Germany, Sweden, like surrounding countries, stuff like that, right? So it's kind of hard when you don't have anything to compare to. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. Well, no, I don't, because I'm
No.
unfortunately been cultivated in a culture where everything is hyper partisan. Like we can't go a week without hearing about how Little Mermaid is woke now. Like the circumstances of my existence seem to differ vastly from yours in that I live in a country where it looks like half this country doesn't respect the political legitimacy of the other half of this country and would seek to undermine them.
Yeah.
More than
It's
that,
not,
what's
not
that?
like that at all. Yeah, it's not like that at all. I feel like I mean, I wouldn't say it's closer to each other politically, in that sense. But it doesn't feel as extreme, right? Of course, we have the extremists, but they have way less of a voice, I think, in Denmark. Like our government right now was sort of made as a government across the center, right? So we have a center left leaning party, our center right leaning party, and sort of a centrist quote unquote party. They're sort of doing the government right now. So I don't think something like that would ever happen in the U.S.
Why do you suppose? I mean, we're both from like these different positions of liberal democracies, or at least at once upon a time for us. Why do you suppose this is the case that the U.S. has seen this erosion, but not Denmark or none of these? Well, I won't say other European countries, but because I immediately think of Viktor Orban, right? But something's got to explain this right-wing shift we're kind of seeing worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's the economy, stupid. Isn't that what they always say? I think there's seems like there's shifts all the time in sort of the political landscape and like what people focus on. I think in Danish politics, I think the big thing has been anti-radicalism to some degree, like anti-left and also anti-right radicalism, which is kind of why there was sort of the calling card of this government back when it was elected. It was sort of like to take a step against both the far right and the far left at the same time. So it was kind of like an experiment. Honestly, I feel like it's okay. I mean, I'm not I'm not too much into sort of the daily things, in like the day-to-day things of like what's happening politically. But just from a normie perspective, I feel like it's not too bad. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a little confused by the "it's the economy stupid" statement. I have heard that before, but when I think of America, we're like the richest country in the world, and it's the economy stupid. Only as we've increased, our reach insofar as free trade goes, right? And so as far as we're able to consume more products from the world, our standards of living have gone up, our wages have gone up. Like America is far and away the richest country in the world, and worldwide, more and more people are being lifted out of poverty than ever before.
Yeah, but isn't that I feel like that's the issue, right? Well, it's the solution and the issue, right? So the issue, the way that I see it right now in the U.S. is that because the standard of living has risen so much, like the average standard of living. So when the economy is actually bad or like goes up and down, the average person doesn't feel it as much, which means that the perception of the economy is way easier to twist from the political lens, which means that people will believe what they're told about the economy way more than they will feel it as they did before, because the average economical situation of the average person is so much better. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. That's probably true. Yeah, I can buy that. It makes me wonder, though, what the answer is to injecting a bit of reality into people who are easily swayed by these arguments that the economy really is bad, and we're really being taken advantage of. When the reality is just that's just not the case.
Well, this is why
This is why you gave up.
This is why I stopped caring about politics, because it's come to a point where it doesn't really matter like what the arguments are or like what the reality is, right? What it matters is perception and like what you can convince people of. And at that point, I'm just not interested. Oh, there was no what I was interested about with politics. Yeah.
We've kind of wandered into a territory where you can just invent your own reality. What were you interested with politics?
I mean, when I first got into sort of the politics of Twitch, right, or like politics in general, I think when I started doing politics on Twitch, like way back when there was like Prime Kais was just starting out and Dylan Burns and these people, it feels like 5 years now ago or something like that.
It does feel so long.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But yeah, back then, like I knew absolutely nothing about. I knew a little bit about politics, but nothing about American politics. Like I didn't know what was the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans and the liberals and conservatives. I think I thought it was 4 different parties or something like that in the U.S. And then that was sort of the what I knew. And I sort of got into it because it was like interesting. I was bored. There was COVID at some point and stuff like that, so I had nothing to do. So I was just like, well, let's learn about this stuff. And I sort of came into it very humble. I was like, maybe I'll be like the guy who maybe has good rhetoric and maybe other people can tell me like what are the facts and read and stuff like that. But I quickly found out that nobody does that online. So even just reading like one article or something like that had me more informed than everybody else. So that was kind of I guess what I thought was interesting. I was like reading about what is the economy, right? Like what is policy? Like how does policy get passed? Like all those things. Those sort of what kept me interested.
But you since moved
And
on
then
to video games or something, right?
one.
Have you since moved on to video games or something?
Well, yeah, I've always been on video games, so I'm. I guess I also had, or I also was doing that when I did the online stuff. That was like my
That was your what?
day job,
That was your day
like
job?
working in video games.
Is it
That's
still
my
your day job?
Yeah, yeah, working. Yeah, I mean, I have my own company that's creating video games. So
Like your company you founded, or like a company you're
yeah,
in? Oh, really?
I'm the founder and CEO.
Nice. What'd you guys make?
So right now we are working on a very secret project that I cannot say anything about. But it's yeah. But it's with
So we're
I
clear,
guess
you're streaming
it's
to 0 viewers. I don't think anybody's gonna care.
yeah.
But you know,
No, that's fine.
yeah, sure. Play
Uh,
close to the chest.
yeah. But it's basically we have a collaboration with a pretty big publisher, like an indie game publisher. So we're working on I guess our biggest title yet, which is very cool. And we're probably gonna do like a first reveal, I think, in around 3 months or so, something like that, 3 or 4 months. So
Do you have to know anything about like programming to like? I don't know what your job as CEO of a video game company entails. I don't know what a CEO would do for a video game company.
well, I am also programmer and designer, so yeah, I actually have a background in programming. I guess I have a master's in computer science equivalent thing here from Denmark, and so that's where I started out. But I also do like design and stuff like that.
Cool.
That's yeah. I've, al- I've always been very very busy, even when I did the Twitch stuff. Like when I did the Twitch stuff, I would like because it was US hours, right? That I was streaming. I would stream from like 8 p.m. Danish time to like 3 a.m. Danish time. I would go to sleep. I would wake up. I would do my day job, and then I would come home, and then I would stream again. And that was sort of my schedule.
Do you ever miss it?
No,
You don't miss going on panels?
I mean I miss talking to interesting people that know more than I do, but I think that's very rare about topics that I care about, right?
Oh, tell us
And
about how humble you are, though. You
Yeah.
came in as super humble.
I mean, I've never been humble, you know that.
Yeah, I know full well.
But yeah, I mean, it's just one of the things I enjoy the least is talking about difficult subjects like politics, philosophy, even science with people who are very uneducated about those things, but have very staunch opinions, like very opinionated, very little educated. I don't enjoy that at all. Which is a little bit ironic because I feel like that was one of the things that I was very good at when I did the Twitch panels and stuff. I was good at yelling at the stupid people, which is I think what a lot of people know me from. But I never really enjoyed it that much. I mean, it was fun at first, but it got boring pretty quickly because just the same arguments over and over again, right? And at some point, you just get tired of repeating the same things. So it's kind of.
I mean, I can understand that. I think we're at a time, though. You're not the only person I've like reached out to for this, but I think we're at a time now where like all these like former politics streamers that have kind of just treated it like it's a hobby and fell by the wayside, which I'm guilty of this exact same thing. Really left the space open for the very people you describe hating to talk to. That people who are just so full of shit, that just arrogant misinformation just exudes from their mouth with every breath, And now we're at a point that it's really unfortunate. We're at a point where like our HHS secretary is like a vaccine denialist, and we've got a
Yep,
measles
it's very
outbreak,
bad.
and our politics has become so corroded that you got people whose like daughter dies to measles, and he's like, yeah, but I wouldn't vaccinate my kid, you know. And I don't regret not vaccinating. It's like, dude,
It's very bad. It's extremely bad. I mean, one of the some people, like, it was very innocuous. Is that a word?
innocuous.
Innocuous. Yeah.
Yes.
My English deteriorates quite a lot when I don't talk to people about these topics a lot. 'Cause I speak a lot of Danish mostly in my day to day, and when you don't speak a language, you sort of get bad at it over time. But anyways, yeah, one of the moments that sort of, I'm not sure how many people actually took notice of that, but one of the moments that were most blackpilling to me was actually the whole like cats and dogs thing. You remember, like they're eating the cats and dogs
Yes.
thing from the debates, and like there was like a few days after that happened. I remember JD Vance was in an interview, and the reporter asked him, so like, I mean, we've asked like the mayor of the town, and like we've done research, and clearly like there was nothing to the story. It was just like some Facebook post, random Facebook post or whatever. And JD Vance just straight up said like, listen, it doesn't matter if it's real or not. If I have to make up a story to make the American people care, then that's what I'll have to do. And when he said that, I was just like, I mean, I mean, what does anything matter then? Like if he's straight up just saying, I mean, he doesn't care if it's true. He's just gonna make up stuff, and to push a point, it's just like, well, like what does anything matter? Like what does any point, like any, like, yeah, it's just that was totally blackpilling for me.
I think the thing that matters is more structural and bigger than just the individual claims that they're going to be making. So there's this book, like How Democracies Die, where it goes into like the how elected leaders can like get rid of the guardrails of democracy, and they do this by they'll attack the courts and delegitimize them. They'll bend rules that institutions towards to favor them. And they'll undermine the press, and we see this in real time, and it always has this kind of a populist backing to it because we've lost trust in institutions. There's this cultural backlash from conservative voters, and this is both in the U.S. and Europe, I feel, but that they feel like these values are under attack, and they would rather flock to these strongman leaders who might promise some sort of a rapid solution to shut out anyone who isn't, it's a very us versus them kind of dynamic, right? And we're here to protect you from those people who are eating the cats and eating the dogs. And if you get people to actually like think in us versus them dynamics, you can have them eating out of your hand with total bullshit like that.
Yeah.
When I understand why that would be blackpilling, I guess I just would be depressed if the response to that would be to just resign from the area entirely and let these people have the keys to power, when this is exactly how democracies die,
Yeah, but I mean, they kind of won, right? I mean, I don't know. That's how I feel anyway. It's like, I feel like I am not personally in a position where I have the will, I guess, or like the dedication to be as effective of an advocate as I'd like to be. And at that point, then I guess I'm hoping that some of the bigger people on the platforms will do what they can. But even then, it's like, what does the online platforms actually mean compared to the actual politicians who have power and elections and all of that? It just feels like it's gonna be so hard, and it's only gonna be harder, like with AI and deep fake technology and like faking videos of politicians, pictures. Like there was even stuff like that Trump's camp did. It just feels like it's just getting worse.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I guess my issue is that the people who would drive these narratives want people like you or people like me or people like us to resign and see, the overwhelming onslaught of misinformation and AI fueled, attacks against the truth, and just be silent. They've more or less won, right? Just by exhausting you, and it's kind of a defeating idea because they don't have to, any fascist government, they don't have to kill you for your compliance. They don't have to visit violence on you. They don't have to talk. They just got to exhaust you, right? Tire you out from defending institutions, tire you out from defending truth, and there's not really anybody to stand in their way. And that's what I'm afraid of. That's where I'm afraid we're heading. Like, what does the world look like in 20 years from now, Dario? Like, do you really think Denmark is safe?
In 20 years?
Well, do you think there will be a world in 20 years?
I've heard some other people say that, like, the last election in the U.S. was the last real election. There's not gonna be any new actual like fair elections in the same way.
That's the worry. That's why you have to fight, right? So it's for the next 20 years.
Over, right?
Well, yes, the last election's over, right? Right now you're proceeding as if there's going to be another election because you have to fight for the next 20 years. If you just resign yourself to it and it's like, oh, well, what if we do give Trump a third term? And if you're asleep to that idea, that's exactly how you end up with Vladimir Putin. That's exactly how you end up with 20 years down the road. There isn't a future. And I bring this up to you because, well, I don't know why you would think Denmark would be immune to this. No country is.
It's not immune, right? But the issue with Denmark is going to always be that the country is too small to make a difference, right? So even if things are okay in Denmark or things get bad, it's not going to make that big of a difference, right? Unless it's like on an EU thing, which I guess that might be relevant, because apparently the US has backed out of doing like Western type politics. So now apparently the EU is a way bigger thing than it was before. So in that sense, you could say.
You think our antagonizing the EU has made the EU a stronger institution?
I think so. I feel like in Denmark at least the support for EU is like at an all-time high.
I feel like
in general.
well, the support can be at an all-time high, but I don't see the EU as being particularly strong. You had Brexit, right? You've got the US slapping tariffs on EU countries. It feels like we're approaching this point, even if people are rallying behind the EU, where the next few years, we're going to be in a situation where it's just constant trade war and political antagonism to undermine the other country because we all think it's an us versus them thing.
Yeah, but like, what are you gonna like? We can't really do anything about that, right? Like the only thing we can do is make the EU stronger. Like we can't really control what the US does, right? Because the US has taken themselves out of it.
Yeah, I guess. If the question is like, what do we do? I don't have good answers for what do we do. I guess the more substantive question I would be looking at is where are we going? If we look like I said, that 20-year model, I'm not completely blind to are we ever going to have another legitimate, free and fair election? Where no more January 6th. I'm not blind to that. That seems like it's a real concern. So like, is the future we're heading down the future we really want to live in? And what explains why we would want to live in this future? Like, is it really just backlash against immigration? Is it really just it's the economy, stupid? Like these answers seem a little unsatisfactory.
Yeah. So I think when I say it's the economy, stupid, I mean that's sort of the like what's being sold to people, I guess. Like the actual thing is that I don't think that there are. The issue is that there are no big, obvious issues. Right, so everybody's making up their issues in terms of like what's the big issue to talk about, right? And the big issue to talk about is what your side of the aisle is feeding you, right? And then you'd say, well, the left wing is, as I believe, more in tune with sort of what is reality, right? And they actually care about actual issues that people face. But the truth is that I guess the voters don't. So it's like, well, what do you do about that? I don't know.
I'm kind of glad you say this because it makes me realize. So when you don't have an actual issue to pursue, it seems like the issue in itself is liberalism, right? You've got rising income inequality. You've got a clash of different cultures. You've got all these economic struggles where people are going to be looking to strongman leaders who promise quick answers instead of any sort of a slow procedural or democratic process, which necessarily leads to more authoritarian governments. I don't think we've seen a right-wing authoritarian government, this many. Really since like pre-World War II, it kind of feels like. For the ones I want to say, these were kind of like ostracized all throughout the world. Like Saddam Hussein was very much a pariah, right? We didn't look at these as figures to emulate. But now it feels like we're totally fine with it. Like we know Vladimir Putin kills journalists. We know Vladimir Putin invades his neighbors. We know Vladimir Putin suppresses speeches and centralizes power. We know he does all these things, and you actually have half of America convinced he's the good guy. Did you see that Donald Trump thing the other day where he's talking about how Zelensky is wanting to order more missiles to fight against Russia, and he's blaming Zelensky. He's saying Zelensky should not have started this war. Factually speaking, Zelensky did not start this war.
Yeah, I mean, he also say Zelensky is the dictator and stuff like that. I mean,
yes, where up is down. Yeah. What's the 1984 thing? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, fuck. Okay, well, I gotta go read 1984 apparently. But we're in a completely upside down. Okay, well, have you seen Zoolander? You haven't seen the movie Zoolander?
Long time ago.
With the male. Okay. Well, the all-male supermodel Zoolander has like one look, right? Blue steel and Magnum and all that. Okay, you remember in the end of the movie, Mugatu like tears his hair out, and he's like, he only has one look. And how does nobody notice this? I'm taking crazy pills. That's kind of where I'm at. Russia invaded a sovereign country. Straight up invaded a sovereign country, annexed territory, kidnapped Ukrainian children, shipped them, to Russian families in an effort to Russify them. It's very much a form of cultural genocide, and I don't know. Like it seems like we're not united against it.
No, yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, right? I mean, it goes so deep, right? It's like, it's not even. Like it is, I think, maybe the issue is that I think it is actually way, 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 way worse than people even, like people who think it's bad. Like I think they think it's bad, but I actually think that it's way worse than they think. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
You think it's worse than it seems?
I think it's worse than it seems, yeah. I think, because the issue is, right, like I still watch I watch the Piers Morgans and stuff like that, right? I watch it for entertainment, and it's like people go on there, and it's just people who, it's obvious that they know that they are lying, right? But they don't care. Right?
Yeah, no, it's team sports. It's politics as, like you said, it's meant as entertainment. It's politics as entertainment. It's pro wrestling.
Yes, but it's pro wrestling with the fate of the world, right? It's like, how do you what do you do about that, right? It is pro wrestling, right? But it's like, it's pro wrestling with, as you say, like Vladimir Putin committing genocide in fucking Ukraine or whatever you want to call it, right? I mean, it's crazy. It's, I don't know, like it's way worse. It's not like it's not because it's divided like in a way where it's like, oh, it's right versus left or whatever. It's
no, it's Trumpism versus the world.
Yeah, but it's not even that. I don't think the issue is Trumpism.
Wow, really? Sense. Well, liberalism versus Trumpism, I think, would be a good way to put it. But what is the issue?
Yeah, but that's the issue. The issue isn't like the issue. I'm trying to, in my head, figure out how I want to
articulate it.
Say it.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like Trumpism is like a manifestation of the issue. Does that make sense?
Sure. What is the issue itself then?
The issue is like
I would just say the issue is declining trust in liberalism.
Well, yeah, but it's like it's polarization and it's like misinformation, right? But like to a degree where it it doesn't matter what is real. Like it doesn't matter, right? It's like the internet and sort of the way that it's structured, like with the algorithms and everything, and like echo chambers and polarization and like people not really engaging with other people.
We've hit a
It's like,
point where you can find stories to verify what you already believe to be true, regardless of how true it actually is.
yes, but like to the nth degree, right? It's like to the degree where it's that there are people, like entire like factions of people who are like that's their job. Their job is just to sell you a reality that doesn't exist, right? And like how do you combat that? Like how do you stop people from that's their income, right? It's like their income is to go on TV and just lie about what's happening in the world, and people trust them, right? They are the most popular people because that's what the algorithms are showing, and like you just keep getting the same thing repeated again and again, and even if you have doubts about if that's true or not, I mean you're financially incentivized to believe it, right? So it doesn't really matter. Like it becomes in a way where it doesn't matter if it's true or not, right? Because like that's just what you have to believe. And it's just
Yeah, it's just
yeah, I
what.
don't know. I mean, and that's just the life of these people. Like of it seems like the vast majority of people at this point.
Well, I don't want it to be the life for my kid, right? I don't know if you're. I don't remember. Were you a parent?
I just had a kid.
You just had a kid. Congratulations. What was that like?
Exhausting.
I imagine.
I had to get up in like 5 hours to take care of the kid.
Oh no. Wait, isn't it like 9 o'clock over there?
Oh, it's 10:30.
Oh, okay. I just figured everybody would be winding down now. I don't want a kid coming up in a world where Trumpism is the norm and liberalism's on the decline, where we watch leaders who, we want leaders who shake things up, and we cheer on these leaders because they undermine the courts or they undermine the media. They call it fake news, right? And they ignore longstanding rules and traditions that have kind of been foundational to the system that has provided so much for so many people. Everybody got tired of polite debate, if we ever had that, and democracy is supposed to be taking a backseat to this. So it's not just the U.S. It's Brazil, it's the U.K. We have this era where populist politicians feed in or tap into like a very real anger, and a division, in society, and they take control from that, and chip away at the institutional norms that would otherwise contain them from doing anything illegal or undemocratic. Think like free trade.
Do you really?
Do I really?
But do you really? I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I feel like it's like one step further from what I think the actual issue is. You
Well,
understand what I'm saying?
it's the culmination. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're. If you really want to get to it, it's the 2000 election, right? It's a 2000 election where the Supreme Court says, "Here's the president," regardless of who might have actually won, and people are going to be asking themselves, "Oh, our laws and our votes can't settle who our leaders are going to be. Why do we need them?" Right? And then you've got the invasion of Iraq, where leaders are like lying to you, right? There's no UN mandate to invade Iraq. They lie to you to get you involved in a war. This liberal world order that more or less operated fine for the decade leading up to from the collapse of the Soviet Union to the war in Iraq suddenly fall into shambles because people are terrified, skeptical, and angry. And that never goes away. In fact, the Republican Party here, you can argue the Democrats here, but the Republican Party here figures out a way to tap into that, take advantage of some very real fear, like Muslims. We can't have Muslims building a mosque near ground zero. It's just insulting, right? In a country founded on the idea of free religion, we can't have that. You yourself being a refugee, right, from a Muslim massacre, it's like we've we've forgotten the values that kind of made this country great, and we've sold them down the river for something, for some semblance of security that doesn't make sense. And consistently, it's been, institutions have just chipped away and eroded the public trust every step of the way. I recognize Trumpism is not the sole cause of this. There's, before Trump's ever president, there are insults after insults after insults thrown at Barack Obama that are just, unconscionable. That he's, a Kenyan.
About the tan suit and fucking Kenyan, like birther, like literally the person who.
Yes, and the adults in the room never push back against it. The adults in the room who would otherwise eschew the politics of people like Pat Buchanan are suddenly now embracing it, right? The John McCain is, somebody you should admire. John McCain is heroic for all sorts of reasons. It's admirable that John McCain was tortured in Vietnam and had a chance to come home early and refused to come home. Donald Trump wouldn't do that. Right, but now John McCain's a pariah within the Republican Party, and Donald Trump insults veterans and faces no repercussions for it.
Yeah, but it's even right, like even the good ones are bad.
Even the good ones are bad. Not necessarily.
I feel like.
What's your idea of bad? What was bad about John McCain?
Like I don't know him specifically, right? But I feel like even the good Republicans, like people are like, what is it called? The previous vice president, Republican,
Dick Cheney,
the one.
Oh, Mike Pence.
The one, Mike Pence. Yeah, like people are like, oh, Mike Pence is a American hero who stood up to Trump. Is like, I mean, yeah, but it's like, I mean,
he kind of did the bare minimum. Yeah, I wouldn't say that about Mike Pence.
Yeah,
but there are Republicans who our only differences are that we have different views about what the world should be. It's not a complete, flip the board over, change the rules, and violate due process. John McCain was what?
But how long ago was it that the differences were? Should the tax be 5% higher or lower? Like what should the retirement age be? Like I'm watching I'm watching House of Cards again, rewatching it. Have you seen House of Cards?
I've watched a bit of it.
Yeah, so like right now there's like a big vote, and it's like, what do the Republicans want? Well, they want to raise the retirement age by 2 years or whatever, and like, we have to give them that, and then we can pass like an education bill. It's like, okay, I mean, that's cool. Right now it's like, how many Democrats can we put in jail because they tried to prosecute Trump? And it's just like, like what's going on?
Yeah, no, it feels like it's been completely turned on its head. I understand. That's kind of like feeding into my angst and anxiety about the next 20 years. Kind of why I've decided to come back, because like, hey, what the fuck happened? It was fine when I left you. Well, I don't want to say fine, but under Biden was a good president. And Democrats don't do enough to defend Biden. That's the problem with Democrats. That's the problem with leftists. They don't do enough to defend the party that actually does represent their interests. It's consistently.
But it's not popular.
Exactly. That's the issue. Why is it popular for Republicans? Donald Trump can violate every norm and it's popular. Donald Trump's ignoring the Supreme Court and it's popular. Why can't Democrats have that same kind of fervor and zealousness?
Because it doesn't. Well, I mean, there's many reasons, right? But like, first off, it doesn't really matter what happened, right? Like, what matters is what is a good story to sell to voters, and that you had a president that kept the country from falling apart is not really a good story. Like, people want crazy stuff to happen. Like, they don't want crazy stuff to not happen. Does that make sense?
You think people want the Donald Trump to undermine everything and violate the Supreme Court?
I mean, yes, kind of. I think so, actually. I think like they want the TV show, right? They want the TV show. They don't want the consequences, but they want to hear about sort of the reality TV show of it.
So we would need Democrats to do more ostentatious, bombastic, entertaining politics for the lower masses.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
so.
That's depressing
Yeah,
as hell, man.
I mean, it is, right? I mean, but it's like it's reality TV now. Like it's reality TV, but it's the biggest screen in the world.
I mean, I guess I don't know that there's room for Democrats to do that. Is my issue. Like somebody
No,
has to stand up for like reasonable adult politics. Like, hey, you can't just tariff the whole world. You know.
Yes, but this is the issue, right? And this is the way I see it, is that that is what they have to do, but it's not so simple, because a large part of the Democratic base feels the same way that you do, right? Where it's like, I mean, this can't be it, right? It's like we have to be the adults in the room, right? But the issue is that it's not enough. Like there's not enough people who want the adults to be in the room, right? And the Republicans just have a very, like in the Republicans, I would say it's maybe like, it's flipped, right? So in the Republican Party, it's maybe like 10% want the adults to be in the room, and 90% want the TV show. And in the Democrat, it's like 50% want the adults to be in the room, and 50% want the TV show, or like are okay with the TV show. And you can't really move one way or the other without hard committing, and it's like really hard. But in the Republican Party, it's easy because there's so few who care, and those people that actually do care, like if they speak up, they will lose their job, and then there will be 0% who care, right?
To what extent would you hold the media responsible for this then? Like, shouldn't the media be up to say like, hey, they're not two sides to every issue?
Yeah, but the media is in the same predicament, right? Because they're speaking to the same people, right? The 50% of Democrat and the 90% of Republicans, they want the circus. So if the media speak up, then they lose their jobs, and then even worse media show up, then it's OAN all the way, like because Fox News wanted to be more reasonable, quote unquote. They were afraid they had the big lawsuit, and they were afraid that they would lose all their viewership to OAN. And it's like, if Fox News thinks that they're becoming too reasonable for the American voter, and they risk paying 50 million or however many millions to a lawsuit, then it's like, where are we actually? Like, how far is it gone, right? And my point is that I think it's actually way worse than people think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I was hoping the lawsuits that ended up getting Tucker Carlson removed from his job, who has several reasons he should have been removed from his job prior, but whatever, that this would like end up establishing some sort of like an institutional accountability against media. That
But
like,
did it?
hey, well, it did in the case of Fox News, but you still see other conservative media making the same fucking claims. And there's, is the idea that, Smartmatic can just file defamation lawsuits against all of them, right? Then you've got so many no-name.
Well, now they can't, right? Because Donald Trump is pursuing lawyers who wrong him, right? And like getting free pro bono work from those law firms in order to combat the lawyers who wrong him into silence. It's like, what do you want to do?
I don't know what we can do. I don't know. It's terrifying prospects. I can like continue to be like a believer in American democracy, but it feels like the writing's on the wall. We're on our way down. We look at it feels like, how do I do this? We can double down on pluralism, right? We can rebuild trust, and we can try to invest in international markets, and rebuild those trade relationships, and try to like really help American prosperity. Or conversely, you can double down on walls, right? Instead of building bridges, you build walls, and you embrace strongman rule and zero-sum politics. If there's not a good answer for the former, and all we have is the latter, I don't know if it behooves Democrats to embrace their own version of this. It might, but are we, it's going to be at the cost of continued undermining of the institutions and the liberal world order.
Yeah, I agree. It's I don't know what the saying is in English. In Denmark we say pest eller cholera.
A pistol Lakova? Is that Danish?
Oh, yes, it's like it's you either get one disease or the other disease.
Oh
That's what it
no.
boils down to.
Like epidemic, epistolakova?
No. Pest. Like Google the word P-E-S-T. It's like what the fuck it's called.
Stupid Danish language.
Yes.
I don't even know how to spell this. Okay. You speak like 3
PEST.
languages, don't you?
More? 5, 4?
4? You speak 4 languages. What 4 languages do you speak?
Speak Danish, Bosnian, English, and German pretty well, and then I guess I understand like some surrounding languages.
I didn't know Bosnian was its own language. I'm gonna sound really dumb like that, but I thought it'd just be like a Slavic language, like Yugoslav or something like as in. I mean, that was this whole thing, right? It was part of Yugoslavia.
Yeah. It's kind of it's very similar to like Croatian, Serbian. Like some people say like Serbo-Croatian.
Now it's your mother tongue, right?
Yeah.
You still fluent in it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, fluent. It depends on the definition, right? I can, when I go visit, I can hold normal conversations with people.
I guess that's fluent. And German too, huh?
Yeah.
You have
I
a what?
very strong accent, like similar to when I speak English.
I don't think your accent's as strong as you think it is.
You know?
I mean, that's fine. I envy the polyglots of the world. I wish I had your a fraction of the talent you guys have. It's too much work. But I guess like you had to learn when you were young, right?
What? Yeah. Like when you, I think there's like studies about this. Like when you grow up with 2 languages, then it's way easier for you to pick up new languages in general.
Nice.
I think it always came easy to me.
Okay. Well, at the risk of repeating anything we've already, any ground we've already covered, I think you said you only had about an hour to play anyway, or hour to talk anyway. Is there any last words you'd like to get off your chest?
I guess I'd like to ask you, like,
Sure, ask away.
How much more depressed are you after this conversation?
It's more anger than depression. Like, it's anger that so I've got anger at these law firms that are basically caving to the administration, such basically it's like you can't represent the opposition. That's what these lawsuits, that's what these executive orders really are doing. You can't represent the opposition, which is just like undemocratic and unjust. So I'm kind of angry at them. I'm angry at universities that have caved so far, right? That we're gonna make all these changes that you're demanding, even if they undermine the protection for our students, even if they undermine free speech. They undermine our core mission as an academic institution. I'm angry at voters. I'm angry at my fellow Americans who look at a president who is just flagrantly, without a doubt, flagrantly violating a Supreme Court order and just saying, well, who cares? That guy is a criminal anyway, which he wasn't. They're just taking it at the word of the administration, which should just terrify you because I could be deported. It could be me tomorrow, right? And we're just going to take the government's word for it. Like we're past the point of proving things. And I'm angry at leftists and Democrats who feel, I feel like I've kind of laid down for this. I'm angry at leftists who look at Democrats and Republicans and see, those are just 2 sides of the same coin. Anybody who says that, I want to strangle them. Like when we got Barack Obama, what did we get? We got health care. We got a credit card bill of rights. We got the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. We got the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform Act. We get consistent, investments into education and infrastructure, Pell Grant expansion. Like everything Democrats do is in some way a way to expand the rights or access people have to the things they need to live a productive life. And leftists just shit all over all of that. It drives me insane. Like our eyes are not working the same way. And to one extent, I want to pity them because I feel like they're falling into the same trap that Republicans fall into, right? Where they're just headline readers in a media environment shaped by news that they're going to select for. But on the other hand, I kind of want to I don't know. I just want to lash out at them like you guys are as bad as they are. You undermine the very liberal institutions that made this country great. We could have everything that you want if you would just help us or get out of the fucking way, like one or the other. I don't have apathy. I have anger in me. I have anger at the media, that the media has the media doesn't have a bias towards liberals or leftism. It doesn't. It has a bias towards neutrality, and it needs to excise that. It wants to treat some debates like there's two sides on an equal issue, and that's just not the case. There's not the Trump side and the Supreme Court side when it comes to due process. There's just the right side and the wrong side, but the media doesn't want to lose viewership. It wants to regain trust. It doesn't want to come out swinging, and it's so scared of this charge of being liberally biased that it allows itself to misinform its viewers in terms of proportionality. Like things that are insignificant become much more significant, and things that are much more significant become insignificant. We're like 2-3 weeks removed from Signalgate. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. Our Secretary of Defense, who was an alcoholic, who's coming into office with a sexual harassment or sexual assault claim against him, right, is just skirting away with no accountability whatsoever for something that this other party would have demanded Hillary Clinton go to jail over. And that's the other thing. Lock her up. How about the media come out and say, hey, this is stuff dictators do with their full chest? It feels like all the conditions are being ripened for a right-wing government to take over, to undermine liberal institutions and norms, to make this country a place that people don't want to live in, and nobody's sounding the alarm about it, except for the few odd politicos. Chuck Schumer, I'm angry at Chuck Schumer. We have no leverage whatsoever. We have no power, institutional power, and he just surrendered completely on the budget. Let's just give Republicans what they want. Mitch McConnell wouldn't have done that. Republicans don't do that. They don't do that. It doesn't matter what the rules are. They flip the book over every time. If we're in the middle of a constitutional crisis where agencies are being axed that were established by congressional mandate, a mandate which belongs to the people's house, that was signed into law by presidents, is part of our government. We're in the middle of an institutional crisis where wartime acts are being invoked when we're not even at fucking war. Shut down the government and resolve this. Do not give a cent. And I don't buy that. Well, this will make it easier for Donald Trump to do, Elon Musk to do whatever they want. Make them do it. Make them do it. So I don't feel the apathy you feel. I don't feel blackpilled. I feel angry that the circumstances around me are being shaped so that my kid doesn't have a productive future ahead of him. That the world is going to be doomed, that climate change is going to get worse, that I'm never going to get access to health care I need, that our systems of education are going to get worse, that free speech is going to be suppressed, that people are going to be afraid to talk because now we're at a point where you can deport people without due process, where American citizens have been arrested by ICE, where American citizens like this girl who had brain cancer was deported. It's 2018 when we had the zero tolerance rule, we were outraged at family separation. Now what is it? We'll keep the families together but deport the American citizen? It's insanity to me that America has fallen from this beacon of hope, to the Western world, and it sold it all out because it was afraid of trans people and immigrants. Even though factually speaking, trans people do not commit sexual assaults. They don't groom people. There's not a competitive advantage in sports. I mean, you can have some debates about it. I'll grant that one. They're just not a threat. I can count the number of trans people I know off one hand. Most people don't know any. And it's the same with immigration. Consistently, immigrants are shown to commit fewer crimes than native-born citizens. They're consistently shown to improve our economy. They bring human capital. They bring investments. They buy our stuff. They make this country a better place. And it seems like we've just forsaken this idea that we're a country of immigrants, all so that we can do fucking what? Build a wall and piss off the rest of the world? We're not gaining anything from this. Our economy's not getting better. Everything's getting more expensive. Now we're a pariah to the rest of the world. So I don't feel apathy. I feel anger.
I think it's fair. I think the difference is that you're living with it every day, right? Every single day, and I'm only living with it when I read the news. I think that's the big difference.
I'm going to be Johnny Heildiver here, but it can happen to you too, man. It can happen to you too.
For sure it can, but it feels like, at least in my circles and like I guess the politics and the news that I follow, it feels like, at least here in Denmark, there's a lot of anti-American sentiment, but I think that's driven by anti-Trump sentiment, which sucks for American liberals and the American left. But it's pretty encouraging, I guess, for the Danish quote unquote liberals. I feel like not even the right wing of Denmark is like pro-Trump anymore. Or at least the conservative people that I know, like they aren't pro-MAGA or Trumpism, right? They're still like, oh, we need to cut taxes and stuff like that. It's like sensible, but it's not that for sure. I feel like we're only going farther away from radicalism, at least right now.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what to say to that other than, yeah, it must be nice to be you.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean, right? I mean, it sucks. It really sucks. It's it's really fucking bad out there in the U.S. from my U.S. homies, and it, by extension, it is also getting bad for the rest of the world, but not as bad as it is in the U.S. and having to live with that.
I guess my concern is how much longer can we live with this before we're in a country we don't even recognize anymore? How much longer can America appeal to these right wing? What?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're way past that. I think that happened in 2016. I think that's where.
That was the Rubicon, so to say.
Yeah, I think so. I think we, or even slightly before that. I don't know. I mean, you can talk about even the double standards with Barack Obama, right? But it was never like that, right? It was never. It was like, it went from selective news, right? Selectively covering the news, or like selectively choosing what to get outraged about, right? It went from that to just being, it doesn't even matter, right? Like, the truth does not matter. It's not lying by omission. Now it's just lying. And it's just like, oh, where do you go from there, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, man. All right, any last words or any other questions or anything else you want to talk about?
No, man. Come live in Denmark.
I don't want to. I want to live here. I want to live with my family. I want to live in a country that makes sense to me, and I want my country to be as good as it can be. I'm a real nationalist. I'm not going to run the fuck away. All these people, all these fucking leftists and liberals are like, we're going to run away to Canada. Fuck them. Go the fuck to Canada. If you don't have the backbone to fight, if your hands, if you think you're so pure and you don't want to get your hands dirty, it's not because you're clean. It's because you don't work, right? And I don't have time for that. So, like, I don't want to like throw shade or name people, but like the online leftists, man, they do so much to benefit from this cycle that they themselves feed into and do nothing to effectuate change despite the values they preach, and it drives me absolutely fucking insane.
No, I agree, but one thing that I guess, I mean, I don't really watch stuff, but I remember when I did the whole politics thing, like, I remember one thing that the hardcore leftist crowd, which, I mean, I even saw myself as part of that for many years, I guess, is that they have the anger, right? So even if it's like they don't really want to do anything about it, right, or they don't know how, or they don't want to organize, but they are angry, right? So I think they share a lot of your frustrations. So maybe there's an in to talk to them like that. I don't know.
Maybe it's not their anger I want; it's their action. There's all sorts of reasons to be angry. I just want somebody to do something. It seems like a lot of leftists would rather be angry than be proactive, be angry than find solutions. And I just, like I said, I don't have time for that. I'd rather deal with the real world that's in front of me right now and try to figure out how we can effectuate change. I just don't want to do it alone.
That's fair. I think there are. I don't know. I think there are good people on the far left that are trying to organize as well. Like even like honestly I don't know too much, so I don't wanna step out of my my comfort zone there. But like even at least from what it seems like, even stuff like the what's it called, the Socialist Party or whatever. There's like a socialist people trying to recruit. What's it called? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm not sure.
American.
Like the
DSA.
Green Party, the Democrat. Oh, okay, so
DSA.
the Democratic Socialist Alliance or whatever.
DSA US, right? It's like the Democratic Socialist Party or whatever.
Yeah.
Thing. Like even those people, I would imagine that a lot of those people are oftentimes ready to do stuff that's anti-right wing, right? And if you just have enough anti-right wing people, it doesn't matter if they disagree on even most issues. If they just agree that they are anti-right, then maybe that's enough to make something happen. I don't know.
I think the bigger issue is they're also anti-liberal. Like their goal is not to maintain a liberal world order; it's to undermine it and have, the end of global capital, which is it's just not going to happen, guys.
Yeah, but it's like you don't have to tell them that, right?
Yeah, I guess so. All right, thank you, sir, for the conversation. I don't know what to say other than good luck in your future endeavors. Don't be such a stranger. Reach out from occasion to occasion. Talk from occasion to occasion. Do whatever.
Sure. I mean, I don't mind having a chat now and then. I just it's hard with the time zones and stuff, so that's why I don't really talk to Americans that much anymore as I used to, right? Because right now it's 11.
I understand. I don't talk to Danish people as much as I used to either.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I think it's always interesting. I think one interesting thing would also be to talk to liberal people from other European countries. Like I'm super curious, like what is the state of those countries compared to like Danish politics, right? Because I feel like it's actually not too bad here, but I wonder how it is in Germany, Sweden, Netherlands, stuff like that. I don't know. I know at least that's an interesting conversation, but it doesn't really help you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess. All right. Well, thanks for the chat, my guy.
All right.
Peace,
See you, man.
love, all that. Bye-bye. Oh, these conversations are depressing, man. I don't know what to do. Feels like the world is crumbling in around me, and it feels like the people who could effectuate change don't care. God, I miss when there was an active group of liberals or social democrats or left-minded people who actually did go into these spaces and try to make arguments, because at least it kind of cleared out the clown car. Well, I guess it also fed the clown car a bit, but it kind of cleared out the clown car a bit from like the right-wing voices that have mostly dominated this space. Like anywhere you go on the internet, it's insane how these voices are just like so chuddy and it's just the same stuff over and over again. It feels like an odd throwback to like the 2014, 2015, this era where it's just like nothing but like ignorant racist memes, and we're like, it's all about the fun of these people, and it's never actually about the change. There's no substance. We're at a point now where the Fifth Amendment, right, your right to due process, something that's supposed to apply to immigrants too, legal or otherwise, it's just being eroded before our eyes, and no alarm bells are going off with the same people that I hear so much condescending bullshit from all throughout the years. Where the fuck are these people at? But I mean, they might ask, where the fuck were you too? Oh well, it is what it is. anyway, anybody who watches, thanks for watching. Hopefully we can get some more engaging conversations down the road. Peace, love, rock and roll.